Cool. So I think I'm going to pick up where we left off here. So last week we had made this form. And this basically summons, we create a SoulBound token that we can, or like a SoulBound token factory almost, that we can summon that is owned by the DAO. That's probably a good summary, Deacon?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. So I think I have a transaction right here that I was just playing around with. So this is the summon SoulBound token right here. And as you can see, like this interface here is pretty bare bones. It doesn't really tell us anything. Like if I was to vote on this, I'd be like, well, you know, what's SoulBound token? What are we talking about here? So we can always look in the view details. And I always, we should have a, I guess I would suggest that people do, just to double check. But as you can see, I'm making a SoulBound token, and the name is called the Big Man, and value, or the symbol Big Man, and so this is you get to be the DAO Big Man. That's the SBT here that is being proposed. So you can look at the details, but like that's not always optimal. So there is a way to make like a custom little transfer here. As you can see, like for guild kick, I'm trying to guild kick myself. And there's like a custom transfer that like looks at the proposal data or the minion action data, and it will try to crunch some numbers and see where like this proposal is trying to do. And there's a couple like hooks in there and everything, like pre-generated data for you that you can use. It's not necessarily like an easy or straightforward process, but I'll walk through it today here. So maybe we'll just from a high level look at kind of the structure of the proposal card. Yep, right there. So the proposal card has basically, actually let's look how the data works. So first you're getting your proposal data that we get from the graph. And if it has a minion attached to it, it's going to use this use minion action hook and send that proposal data in. What this use minion action hook does is it will look at the encoded minion action data and make an attempt to tell what type of minion that we're using and try to decode it accordingly, because there's a bunch of different methods per each minion type. So it tries to manage all this for us and kind of just hold it in state and make sure that like we're not continually decoding it, because it's a pretty expensive process. So it just kind of like memoizes it a little bit. And it also gives you the instructions you need to execute the transaction. And then that passes it into the proposal actions, which we'll talk about later. So actually, let's talk about that now. So there's two parts to a proposal card. There's like two factories essentially. So one is the proposal brief here, which is like what briefs you on what this proposal is doing. And it has a bunch of potential data in here that is kind of like the short form. And you also get like things like details, whatever custom UI you decide to make. Proposal actions is over here, and it's basically a factory that renders UI based on whatever stage the proposal is currently going through. So today we're going to be dealing mostly with the proposal card brief. And actually, we're not going to be worrying ourselves too much about this. It's just going to have it's going to keep kind of crunching some data on the way down that makes it like more usable for us. We're passing that minion action down as well, and it's going to go into this factory called custom transfer. That's where we're working, and we're going to make a custom transfer here. So as with most things in V2, if we want to make something new, we just freely add it to a massive blob of custom elements inside of a shallowly organized folder. We're going to call this SBT transfer. And we're just going to hook it up to the factory here. So if custom transfer UI equals minion transfer. So I got to remember, I actually don't even remember how we hook the custom transfer UI string up here. That's something I will have to figure out. So let's call this SBT transfer. My thinking is that we're going to map the proposal type somehow to the to this string here. Yes. Okay.
What is that hotkey you use to open that window you're typing in right now?
Control P.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. You can just sort of rip around without the without all the hassle. Man, I can't remember where the transfer data comes from. Does anyone know offhand? Custom transfer UI. How do I get that custom transfer UI? I should have looked into this before, but I forgot that it existed. Proposal, utils, transfer. Okay, enough of this. Oops.
If it's important, we can splice the answer in the video edit later.
Yeah, that's probably good, eh? There we go. So it's in this proposal data.js thing right here. So what you do, so every type of proposal, we can map it to a custom transfer UI. And I think the reason we did this is that because it was like you can have a transfer UI and different executes or something like that. You could have possibly different UIs per proposal type, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe at one time we thought we did. Proposal types dot, we have an SBT summon, perfect. SBT summon transfer, I think is basically I think the right string for that. There we go. So now, what did I have here again? SBT transfer. Let's see if that shows up. There we go. So now we are rendering basically whatever we want in that React component we're mapping that essentially to this summon SBT proposal type. So now we have access to the minion data. We have access to basically like whatever we need to render a little bit of UI here. So I'm thinking we go into the SBT transfer, and what do we want to render here? So we want to get minion action. Let me take a look at another one here. What about poster transfer? So yeah, poster transfer seems to be pulling in minion action here. Nice. Let's just log out the minion action and see what we get. Ooh. Okay, so we get basically like a decoded blob of data under decoded, and then you're able to go into actions, see what it's doing, and you get the name of what you're trying to do. I think there are some of the params here. Oh yeah, you can reach in, grab name. You can grab your symbol, the receiver, and the details object as well. Now, I think it'd be even faster just to go with name and symbol here. So I think that's what we're gonna do. It's a lot of nested data. I always find kind of doing this part pretty painful, just because there's so many levels you have to go into. And a lot of the other ones, there's a lot of additional fetches and other things to basically like get the right amount of data. You know, say for like some of them you have to get a token from the action data, and then you got to call that token contract, and then you have to, you know, just like a lot of like arbitrary data crunching. So it can be a little bit of work to get kind of like, you know, 6 words to render on a card, but sometimes it's nice to have that like short view of what you of what you're looking for, as opposed to like the underlying details and going through this sort of stuff every time with every proposal. So yeah, let's make a little transfer here. So I'm gonna kind of keep this. So what is it? Decoded.actions. In the first element .data. It's much easier. I'm gonna pop this out. I mean, I don't actually usually do this, so bear with me here. Oh, there we go. Just popping that out. Won't be able to see it on my screen, just so I can kind of see it and type it at the same time. So we're going to console log minion action dot decoded dot actions. I'm going to optional chain just the whole way here, just because we're just figuring it out, and I think just generally with JavaScript, it's probably good to do a lot of this, especially with like deeply nested parameters here. So the name is going to exist. Let's see here, data.params. Wow. Okay, data.params is going to exist at index 0. Why do I keep doing that? And we're going to be grabbing, wow, name. A lot of work just to get the name. Not gonna lie. I think it might be tempting to, yeah, and then I am not getting a name though, of course. Let me just take a look here. All right, this is getting crazy. Okay, bear with me here, it's kind of boring, but Sometimes it needs to be done. There we go. Oh, that's the name of the function. Okay. Wow. Params is an array, and we are getting the first element of that array. So we could probably just go all the way here. Oops. Oh, it's not happy about something here.
That dot 0. You don't want the dot there, yeah.
What, this?
Yeah.
I think that's it's just the optional chaining, actually. So it's just saying, like, if there's nothing at 0, don't blow up the program. And don't blow up the program, just make it undefined. This part seems to be action. Oh yeah, I have that was a crappy copy and paste. Actions. And then we're gonna go actions data params here. Yeah, sorry, this is incredibly boring. Nice. Maybe give it a little refresh. And now, of course, now that I have my brilliant. Excellent. Okay. Oh, so name really was name, because it's name of the function, or name of the parameter.
Can we see the console again?
Yeah, one sec. Value. So I just needed to look at this. Okay, yeah, we can put it back in here now. Oops. Okay, so the big man. We're gonna basically look at some of the UI that we used in poster transfer. So we have, it looks like poster's making a call here. Yeah, to handle the content data. So in the poster one, it's like, oh, we have to make a fetch. It's potentially, we're going to be making a fetch to IPFS or Pinata, our gateway for IPFS. And it's going to try to decode that data. And then we have a UI here in case there's an error, and a UI here for an async card transfer UI. The transfer UIs are these sort of things right here. And what they do, and the async one will just basically give you like a skeleton, like a little blurring bar here until it loads, and then once it loads, it presents your data. If there's an error with the data, then it's going to present it as such. So in this one, I think we're synchronous, right? So I don't think we need to make a fetch, so I don't know if we need the async card transfer. So let's look at the prop card transfer. That's what we're using. It's a lot of review for me. It's been a while. It's been since sometime last year since I made one of these. Okay, so let's look at the props here. We got incoming, outgoing. So incoming and outgoing manages these arrows here. I don't really think it makes sense to have like one of the arrows. So they're more meant for financial transactions, although we seem to be using it for guild kick. But yeah, so I don't think we need either of those. Item text, I think, is the text here in the middle. Or no, the item text is basically what we are doing or what we are spending there. Like it helps with like units and stuff like that. So if it's like transfer, 30 ETH to this, then I think your item text will be the item text that goes in here. It just helps template it so that it's bold, and it'll be moving that 30 ETH to, and then another prop here for special location. So that would be like to this minion or to this treasury or something like that. Or you can just basically put whatever text you want in here in custom UI, which is probably what we're going to be doing. So custom UI makes sense to me. Yeah. And then we're just going to put we're going to save this as const. It's going to be the SBT factory name. And we're going to say summon SBT factory, and then just interpolate the name. Maybe we'll put some quotes around that. SBT factory for the big man. How we all feel about that? Want some bold around the big man?
Love it. Looks good.
I guess no bold. I could do some bold here, I guess. I think that would work, right? No. Oh yeah, it's gonna... All right. I'm gonna leave that alone. There is a way to do that. I think for the purposes of demonstration, I think we all know how we could bold a certain section of interpolated or of a template string. I think it would just be better to spend our time just going through the structure and stuff like that. So this is like a really rough interface. It doesn't look that great, but that is how you make like a custom interface for one of these. And as you can see, we're using a bunch of different. We have a bunch. Oh, that one's not. Contract source not verified. So sometimes with certain types of proposals, this could be using like an old minion or something like that. So we have some error codes here to let us know either that or the action. And some of the proposals, the actions get deleted, so it doesn't have much data to pull from anymore. I don't know if this is true anymore. It may have been at like one point, but I think now we're getting everything from the subgraph. So this probably has more to do with just like it's not fitting properly, or it's making a fetch and the data isn't coming back in the right shape. So there's like an error UI to kind of handle that. That seems to be happening in the payroll proposal transfer. Yeah, you can see like this multi-call thing is also a custom UI that goes into the safe minion proposals. And it just helps you render off something like this. We can even take a look there. So we can go to safe minion. I imagine it's just safe minion transfer. No? Okay. Multi-TX transfer? There we go. So yeah, in this transfer, in a more complicated use case here, we're even pulling in the modal from the useApp modal, and we got the minion action data coming in. And if there's an error on the minion action status, so if we're getting an error code, it's just gonna nip that in the bud right away and give us an error. And then we have a display details function, and that's gonna pipe up all the details into the modal for us once we get it, or once we select that option. And this is the custom UI that like displays that there's a multi-call. So notice, I was saying like we could get a lot more detail here with how we present the data and stuff like that. And this is an example. So we turn one of the text into a button. We interpolate the strings here, as, more properly, not just doing like a string template literal where we're actually using the JSX, and then we're putting that inside the custom UI. And then we have the asynchronous is loaded here to keep track of the minion action data and whether it's decoded. And okay, so we have these action items and then the single action display. This is basically that table you see of all the minion action data, and this renders all that out. All those components is this kind of this accordion layout right here. And if you have like 5 different transactions, you'll be able to open them up and see them and stuff. What it does is it gets that entire display, and then it pipes it up into the modal when we decide to display it. So like again, like a decent amount of work just to get like a little bit of text here and a bit of functionality. But I find a little bit of succinct and maybe like declarative language around what a proposal is doing is pretty helpful. So I think it adds a lot to like custom proposals. As you can see, we're requesting 3 weenus from Hooper. Like that is very nice and succinct. It lets us know what we're doing. And if you're generally around a lot of people you can trust, maybe you can trust but verify, like you say, okay, that's what this proposal is doing. Let me think about it. Maybe before you vote, you go into view details and verify for yourself. Or if you just want to, it's a DAO, not a whole lot of value in it, maybe you can just vote based on that, at your own peril or risk, of course. But, it is just nice to have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on. Any questions about the proposal transfers here? Do we want a little just from the top refresher of how this whole system works?
Yeah, I'd be down for that. So what are you calling there's like a small proposal card, and then when you click view details, there's another card, and
this is like our old school proposal details page. And
the details that we're showing on the thing that you just did all that work to get to show on the little proposal card is not on the details card. Is it available, like if you wanted to have that same text, SBT factory for the big man, when you click view details? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean like this thing? What we need to do is, and I think we should do it, like this, I like this accordion layout a little bit more than what we have in the details page. So we should be right now it just exists in the one transfer, but we should be extracting it out and trying to make it like general purpose. The problem with making general purpose is there are different structures of minion data, like for different minions. So if it gets applied to basically any single like data structure, it will crash or not work as expected. So like this isn't very modular, this component here. It just like it works for this transfer because the data is coming in a certain way. If we had invested more time in this, like I said, this was built. Oh, Santiago's been in here recently, but he's been in here a few times. But yeah, I can't find when this was actually built. But yeah, I think this was like last October, and I haven't really seen it much since. So 6 months ago. So so maybe not too long ago, but still. And yeah, it's if it had more iterations, basically what we would have done is kind of componentize this. In V3, what we're doing is we're just building a factory that basically renders off, like kind of like searches through that data tree and just renders off a bunch of kind of specialized components that you can click through and pull down, and will be a lot nicer experience. And you'll be able to kind of take that from one data structure to another. Hopefully. Also, another thing about V3, just the contracts are a little bit more uniform. So we're able to just kind of have similar data structures, and that'll take a big load off of us as well. Does that kind of answer the question there for you?
Sure. I'll have to go deeper into that, but
cool. How are we all doing here? Let's bots today, eh? Pretty nice. Those bots, those noisy bots.
Yeah, who's not a bot? Like, just unmute for 1 second or say something if you're not a bot.
Human here.
Okay, maybe not as many.
There's a couple people that I know are not bots that
yeah.
maybe just aren't able to do it.
That's what makes it tough, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went through transfers. So basically, what I think the key components to remember, and I probably didn't do a great preface of this before I just started getting into the React, but what ties this to your, like this UI to your proposal is that proposal type, this sort of ugly blob that we have in proposal utils here, where we have all the different proposal types. And that proposal type, if you'll remember, exists on your form. So in the SBT forms, we have a proposal type. It's called SBT summon, and that basically tells the UI, like, hey, render this for this type of proposal. It allows you, it kind of like frees us from the craziness of trying to like interpret what the proposal is trying to do based on some sort of logic, which is impossible, and instead just tells the proposal, nope, you're this type of proposal, render this UI. And so that gets mapped inside of, I think that was proposal actions. That was interesting trying to find that one. Proposal data.js. Okay, let's remember that. Proposal data.js. There's this like mapping, and you can see here that we're getting the data from each type of proposal type here, and then we have a custom transfer UI. I'm surprised that we're not just doing this per. Because we can have the same executes here. Okay. Yeah, so we have to like do another like mapping here, and then so you want to map that to like some sort of string, and then you bring that string over to the custom transfer factory, and that renders off your React component for you. It's a pretty involved flow, not super refined, but it's sort of the flow, like the V0 flow that we had made for this. We feel like we can follow that, like. I'm gonna assume a yes. No questions.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Seems good. So then the next step would be more like making the boost to actually send SBTs to someone.
Yeah.
This one is all specifically for launching the NFT contract.
Right. So that's exactly it, right? Like it just all this does is launches the factory contract, and we still need to like do things with that. Like we would want to assign it to a DAO member, maybe someone outside the DAO, or whatever, right? Like you want to mint them, you want to be able to revoke them. There's a bunch of different actions that we need to be able to take. So maybe what we could do is sort of review the form and TX process, and I guess what we would need, we don't need it, but we're going to notice sort of a glaring hole kind of in the data availability problem here. And that's essentially like which factory, like how do we know which factory we're going to be targeting? And so that's probably like if we do a video on the subgraph, that will probably go into that. Like how would you map the SBT token to say your DAO or whatever? Maybe that's like what you bring your own custom subgraph, and then you're able to like send up your DAO's address and find all the SBT factories that are associated with it, and maybe all the members that have SBT tokens that were minted from it. Something like that would be like a great way to build like a custom dashboard off of kind of, that data. We don't have that, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to make a form that takes in the SBT factory contract manually, and then we'll be able to work with it that way. It's not ideal, but it's probably more ideal than like just stop, drop, and make a subgraph on the moment. So I think that's probably what we're going to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a good flow to have like a boost really is to enable the functionality, but then the actual utility would be in this like dashboard bolt-on kind of app. You could use a subgraph, or you could use, I guess you could query the contract directly. But you need to know that it's linked to the DAO, right? So we would need to get something. Yeah, and then.
So what I was thinking is like a
interesting.
bring your own subgraph kind of thing would be kind of probably the best way to do it. Like so far we've been using this big, massive, monolithic subgraph for everything, and that gets kind of burdensome because we have to basically just like update this big beast every single time. And I was thinking like maybe the right approach there would be a bring your own subgraph kind of thing that looks at this one SBT.
Yeah, we need some kind of standard, like make sure your subgraph has this field for DAOhaus DAO address or something.
Yeah, that'd be good. So basically, I'm just
Isaac.
What's up?
Oh, I was just gonna see.
I'm almost done with, I
Did
think,
you try?
yeah.
That's what I was wondering, if you were hacking on it during this.
Yeah, I think I'm almost
That's
done.
awesome.
I can share my progress.
That's cool.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Cool. So, alright, I'll share. I'll share my whole screen. Screen, this one. Cool. So I created, let me zoom in a little bit. So I created DAOstar forms, and I created the transaction type of DAOstar register, which pulls the ABI from DAOstar factory, and I put the factory into the contracts area. So I think that I basically got the form ready to go. Right now what I'm trying to figure out is how to actually get it to show up. So I tried just like adding it to one of the standard playlists, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. So if I go to like, I'm not sure where you were earlier when you were like dev true made it show up somewhere. Like where was that?
Yeah, just go to the manage button to the right. So when you went to the proposal modal there, so it's not there. So let's see where you have it stashed.
Okay, so I have it under forms. I have DAOstar forms here.
Okay, and then go to, so one thing you want to do is you want to bring that DAOstar forms, go into forms.js. You gotta like kind of spread it into that big massive blob if you didn't already. Oh, you did, okay.
Right there.
And the ID of the DAOstar forms is the same as the key. Just, it is, okay. You got dev is true.
Well,
I take it you've done a refresh, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
so just there, yeah. Yarn start. I'll just restart and see what
Okay.
happens.
Yeah.
I've noticed that like there's cores on some of the backends, so I have like the main one open in parallel.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've been getting those too. I don't know. I haven't been in this app in a while, so it looks like it was coming from an ENS thing.
gotcha. I'm on. Let's see, what branch am I on? Does that matter?
Yeah, I guess it would have to be.
I'm on
decently
develop.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
I wonder what's going on here. That's good. It's good troubleshooting. All right.
Okay, cool. So
yeah.
cannot get contract version of undefined. I don't know.
Oh, okay, that might be it. Get contract version of undefined.
Yeah, so under chain.js, I have, let's see, did I do it under the right thing? So I did it under 0x4, DAOstar registration factory address.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Go to abi.js. So there's one extra step here. Scroll all the way up. Yeah. Oh, you're already in. Okay.
Put that guy in.
Yeah. It
Which,
still wouldn't even explain why you are spreading the DAOstar registration, right? And it is a nested object, the forms.
yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's called DAOstar register.
Right. Okay. This is interesting. Title, description required. You got your fields there, looking nice.
That could be an issue. I had that spelled wrong.
That'll just like it won't. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. I don't know what to say. It's usually like as soon as dev true goes on, it host we are.
Do I need to be in like some sort of local dev mode, like an environment variable, or?
Oh yes. Oh my god. Yeah, that's it exactly. Dev, go to your environment variable.
Okay, so
and just do dev equals true.
okay, cool. So under DAOhaus app, I don't have an so I'll do,
Yeah, just do it .env.
and then dev.
Capital dev equals true.
Cool. I'll restart.
One second here. Wonder if it's just formatted differently.
Proposals, new proposal, manage. Don't see it there yet.
It's probably formatted differently.
Could it be that in the environment file it should be react_app_dev equals true?
Yes. Yeah.
What should it be?
Let me just take. Yeah, that's right. It's gonna be the. You know how there's the React.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, React app underscore.
One sec.
Exactly. Yeah.
I switched one of the layers on my keyboard to Dvorak, so now it's all messed up.
App.
React
There you
app dev.
Yeah, that'll be it. I'm looking at mine now.
Sick.
Nice catch. Whoever said that, was that you, Amos?
Thanks, Amos. Nice. Register your DAOs with DAOstar. IDFS URL. Minions list is not showing up. But
Oh, so this is a big gotcha, and it gets me still sometimes. And it's really dumb. You're gonna have to go to the form, and do a minion type.
Where's that?
Anywhere like in the in the DAOstar form there, just do minion type, camel paste, and then screaming snake case minion types. There we go. And then safe. Yeah, so that's a gotcha. I think we should get down for the docs there. Is you might have to reopen that modal or refresh. Is that if you don't put the minion type in the form, I think it has to do with like the boost and spreading that data around. Oh, come on.
All good. Let's see, minions. We have a minion address. Let's see, type name is this says type name minion type safe minion v0.
Yeah, that's what it should be. Let me take a look. Yeah, I'm using minion types.safe in the SPT one right now. This minion select thing has been sort of a ongoing issue. We have some like challenges with trying to determine you do have a safe minion enabled, right?
Let's confirm. So vaults, yeah, I have a safe minion. It exists there. If I go to the same DAO on the regular website, show up, yeah. It does exist, but safe SDK error. Wonder if that's a similar issue.
I think so. I think we were. What networks is this on?
Rinkeby.
Yes, I think we had this problem last week when I tried setting up.
I'm having that problem too.
Yeah, I had to use XDAI in order to.
Okay. Well, I will deploy to XDAI as well, but I feel like this was pretty good progress.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So the next thing that we'll do.
I love the debugs.
Next thing that we do after this is, I think, similar to what you said for the SBT one. I'm gonna have to now like have an additional form if you want to like update. So this will just do the initial registration, and then I'll need to do an additional form that allows them to just I'll need to kind of like store, kind of like how the safe minions address is stored somewhere. I'll need to kind of store their registration contract address.
Yeah.
Is there any tips for
storing that easily?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like before it was that's kind of. It's always been the subgraph for us, right? Like we've just always kept piling onto the subgraph.
Yeah. I should have added the subgraph then.
Yeah. Like I don't know if you wanted to do the bring your own subgraph or maybe talk to Sam or something like that. I think that's probably the way to go. We still need to like figure out a good approach there because that seems to be one of the big bottlenecks with this is it relies on us adding stuff to the subgraph.
Cool. All right. I'll at least record a quick screen cap. So, all right. So we have proposals. We want to do a new proposal, manage, and then we want to register with DAOstar, and we can put in our DAO URI, and then once that's resolved, we'll be able to select our minion, and then we can submit, and then that'll call out to the DAOstar registration factory and allow them to register their URI. And then once we have that done, then we can add on all the other cool stuff like building and pinning the data as well.
Mm-hmm. I think one possible solution is I don't know how we would like store it, but might be able to like do something with poster.
Mm-hmm.
And like a location for DAOstar. Or maybe even like a field, because we're replacing our metadata. Like we're going to take that out of our centralized server and just start posting it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's something there, like we can integrate with DAOstar.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the help. This was productive.
No worries. Thanks for trying it out. Sweet. I'm going to go back to the thing here. Type. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing is doing a SBT mint function. And I figured what would be kind of fun is we could essentially just have make like a whole suite of SBT calls. What I'll do is I'll build another one in just like a quick demonstration of building out another transaction, and then maybe like as homework if anyone's looking for practice or any sort of just trying out building out a boost and additional functionality. Maybe we'll have some like house related prizes for anyone who does a bit of work there, and maybe that you can build like the revoke transaction. Deacon, we need mint, revoke, and assign. Is it? Oh, is Deacon not here? Okay. Yeah, it's something like that. Like we'll go through the contract, but there's a mint function, there's a revoke, and an assign or something. So what we can do, okay, I thought I lost audio there. So SBT summon, min and type. So we're going to be making a new proposal type as always. SBT. This is basically just review at this point, right? We should know this off by heart now. Linter is not liking my single quotes. Is that it? Oh, and I have a semicolon there. Ooh. Okay. Title, and this will be simple. Just mint. Description. You know what? This is probably low value for everyone, right? We've seen this 100 times before. We have a couple videos on that. Why don't we do something like make a custom field or something like that? Would that be more interesting?
Yay!
Sweet. Okay, cool. So if we want to make a new field, we have to do a few things. So you have to tell the form to basically that we want to, instead of just getting like these classic inputs, we want to make a new type. So we're going to make, what does this form actually need? SPT token name and symbol. This actually really doesn't need any any sort of custom fields here. We should just do one for demonstration, I guess. What would be like a really goofy thing we could add to this maybe like a asynchronous call or something.
Are indexed in your subgraph?
Yeah, these are not indexed yet in our subgraph. That's what I was saying. So if we wanted to actually, we'd have to make a new one. But what I can do is also one thing to note too. If you ever want to index or to pull a different subgraph for your transaction, you would have to. Actually, I'll do that when we use a custom subgraph. I'm just gonna like as an example because we should have some sort of custom field here. So we're just going to make like a, type goofy custom field with a label like that. Not minion. We want goofy. There we go. Name. Goofy custom field. No, just call it goofy. So and HTML4 placeholder. Sure. And have the validation be any. Sure. Yep. And I don't think this will be we'll be reusing it, so I don't think we need to store it on the fields object. So we'll just keep it right here. We're going to go into input factory. Yeah, nice big factory here. We're starting to see a lot of factories. So if type equals custom, what are we looking for? Goofy custom field. We will will not return null. We will return goofy custom field. So we have to make a component that does that.
Did that return null stay?
What's that?
The return null was still there? Was that supposed to go away?
Yeah, that's just like in case there's no other item, it should return null instead of undefined. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, so it's just like there's like a failsafe.
Oh, gotcha. I thought that
Yeah.
auto-generated.
For some reason, the linter doesn't like undefined being returned, but I think React treats the null and undefined the same, if I'm not mistaken. But I just use null just in case. Input factory. Yeah. Goofy, custom field. And then, there we go. No. Oh, it just doesn't want to auto import for me, eh? I will not tolerate a non-auto import. I will, I guess. There we go. So I think now if we open this up, we're going to get a goofy custom field. What doesn't it like here? Okay, it does like it. Does.
I think I see an N instead of an M in custom on the
What's
right
that?
on the right side.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, custom. That's my special spelling. Oh, but it actually is N. Interesting. That's why we didn't have the autocomplete.
There too on the export, that previous one that you were on.
It's French. It's custom.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. Oh, we got rid of the dev true here. Lovely. Okay, so there we go. We have our goofy custom field here. So basically, having that custom field allows you to render whatever you want inside of the form there. So like, it could be any React component. It has access to all of the application context, so you can pull in whatever data you want. You can make asynchronous calls. Any of like the complexity in the app, you have to do like really hard data crunching, and you need to get data from one thing and bring it to another. You have like these custom fields here that are going to do that for you. And basically, what you'll need to do is save that data to a field so that you're going to be querying with your transaction Lego. So what we'll do here is, does anyone have like some like fun asynchronous data that we can just pull in?
Well, in my case, I'm having
Oh, you cut
I
out
don't
again.
know, 2 or 3 fields. Then I bundle up.
You're really cutting out there.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's just like it seems to be cutting out halfway through.
Yeah, it's my internet.
Oh, okay.
So storing an IPFS JSON.
Okay, so you need access to that IPFS JSON essentially. And you'd like to be able to. Is the field going to be storing the IPFS JSON?
Actually, I'm using the IPFS JSON. What I'm doing is rendering, then bundling it up all in a JSON story and retrieving the hash and using that function. That came through.
Like half of it came through. Maybe you could type it in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, in my case, I'm rendering 3 input field strings, and on submit JSON.stringify input 1, 2, 3. Storing on IPFS and retrieving the hash, encoding into bytes 32, using it as a transaction argument.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can.
He typed what he's doing into the chat.
Okay, cool. Which chat is that? I'm looking at.
There's a little chat icon in the top right of the...
Oh, these things, yeah.
Yeah.
In my case, rendering 3 input strings, field strings, and on submit JSON stringify input 1, 2, and 3. So you want to stringify all those things and store them on IPFS, and retrieving the hash. You want to encode it into bytes 32, the hash, the IPFS hash.
Yes, sir.
And use it as a transaction argument. Okay, so I'm currently doing it on gather args. The thing with the gather args is it's just going to grab the data. You would need to make like this sort of specialized data. We'll kind of modify it over time. Now the challenge with that is you probably don't want to encode it and store it on IPFS with every like update, with every render. So we don't have like a good on submit handler like inside the component. What I would really advise you to do is look to the poster boost that we have and see how we're handling. There's a args from callback function that we're using to handle this. I'll send along kind of like where we update that. And what that does is it gets all the data from the fields that are in like a markdown editor, and it pins it to the IPFS using our pinning service, like Pinata's pinning service, and before submit, and then passes it as arguments to the transaction for you. Now, it's not like an automated service like the other builders. You kind of have to write this out manually, but it's like an on-submit handler, and you just do all your arguments through that if you want to do like an asynchronous kind of batch call. Yeah, that's how I would handle that. It's not ideal, but like it was just it's kind of like this new edge case that's not edge case, but like it's becoming pretty common now for people to want to do IPFS calls as they submit. We don't have like an amazing way to deal with that. Another way to do it is to make a button, like have an input, and then have a button with the input that pins it to IPFS, and then it stores the response. Yeah, like a preload, exactly. And it stores the response inside the form data. Then you can just pass that along to the form. Maybe we could try something like that here. No guarantees, but we'll see if we can get that done. So I gotta kind of familiarize myself a bit with the kind of the setup here. But what the whole deal with this field system is that like we could just continually wrap a bunch of fields with like additional functionality over time. So what we should probably, let's make it save like a string to IPFS. We'll give it a button to save that. We'll make it let us know once it's saved, and then it should put the hash into the form data, and then we should be able to pull that hash out of the form data using the transaction. Let's try that and see if that works. So this won't work really that well for the maybe it will work for the SBT boost. What we can do is maybe we could pin an image link to the or an image or something, or some sort of content to the IPFS hash, and then we'll put it in the details JSON of the SBT factory call, and then it should be able to. Do we have a URI or something like that, like an argument for that? We don't. The new factory did. Deacon's not here. Okay, so we're just going to do a generic. We're gonna save a string. In this case, generic text area. And what is that looking for here? We're gonna get all the props. We're gonna spread that props down here. This just connects all the stuff that we're getting from the factory, all the form data, all the Legos, all that stuff, everything down to the generic text area that we're composing, and it'll kind of keep things kind of continuous, if that makes sense. It doesn't break the chain, so all the label and all the stuff that we entered in for our field will show up in the generic text area. So if we render our form here, it'll say the label that we had, the goofy text, our placeholder, all that stuff goes into the field. And how we accomplished that was just by spreading the props that we received from the factory. Remember the factory here, we're spreading props to every single input. And that's where we do that. So we spread the props right here, and that's the props that we received from the parent component into generic text area. And what this needs is a button to pin this to the IPFS data. I wonder if text area has that little min button, field wrapper. Field wrapper usually has it, right? Like a little min max button. How do we handle it? Let's see, token input, token value. Help protects field error, children, button. There we go. There's a button prop here. And text area has a button prop as well. Perfect. What we're going to do is pass button in here. What is it, like small button or something? I would love to know what that Let me just look. Tribute input, payment input has it. Mod button, okay. And this is going to say pin lovely. So I don't think we'll be using a use effect or state, maybe state. Yeah, we'll be using state. But there's our mod button. It's not showing any text. That's great. Why not? Oh, because we use a text prop. pin. So this will be our little pin button here. So we'll need an is loading. And so what state? So there'll be pin, loading, and pinned. Okay, so has pinned. I like to do kind of dual state here. More simple state. Handle pin now. And I will have to remember how we actually do this. The
IPFS JSON pin.
that might be it. Let me just let's try that IPFS JSON pin. IPFS JSON pin cred. So we're going to have to need to get creds. IPF pre-post, which takes an endpoint. All right. Wonder, is there not something? I swear we just had something to just post it, but there is. Let me just find it here. So this is the Dr. Ongo is saying there's the args from callback. So in certain transactions, like if you don't want to go through the args process, you can just do like a callback function instead. It's a little bit abstracted, but obviously not as streamlined, but it does exist. Arg builder callback, no. Post IPFS, there we go. All right, I'm just gonna kind of like rip this off here. So we go into our goofy custom field. We're gonna get the key. There's our IPFS pre-post. We're handling that here. And we need our DAO address. So anytime you want to get the DAO address, you just go DAO ID, and then go to use params. This will obviously only work whenever you're in the like a DAO interface, not say like if you're on the hub or whatever. Just worth noting. So we need a DAO address, and that's pretty much it, eh? Okay. And then const pinata. My God, can't spell. Okay, pinata data, IPFS JSON pin. And we are pinning this. So we want to pin everything from this. So we're going to, if you're ever trying to pull data in that is from, so we don't use controlled inputs in DAOhaus. We use something called React Hook Form, which is kind of this nice little API for sort of abstracting away some of the craziness of controlled inputs in React, and also kind of helping with performance. I don't think this system would be able to kind of like survive without something like that. It's not super optimized. So React Hook Form helps a lot with that. We're gonna pull watch from props dot local form. I think it's been a long time. Props dot local form, I think, and it might blow up, but we'll see. And then we're gonna watch. We're gonna use watch our name to get like the props.name. Call this field text, and we're going to be getting that from props.name. Props.name is, if you go into your field, so in our SBT form, it's looking, when you're getting props.name, you're getting this value right here. So what you're saying is, hey, React hook form, rename to local form here, watch this name and tell me any of the values that come up. And when you do, just update this this field text variable here. And that's what we're going to be posting. Field text. And yeah, and then we're going to want we're going to be pulling, so local form. Yeah, and Pinatat. Okay. And then we are going to set value. So set value is another React hook form utility here, and that's just going to set the value to like some sort of, we'll go into the React hook form docs just to get like a better illustration here of how this works. Yep, use form. So we're using this set of utilities here. So watch was the first one that we pulled. And now we're going to be doing a set value. So first argument should be the name, I think, that you want it to be set to. And then it should be the value after, yeah, name and then value. Okay, perfect. And that stashes it inside like a different name inside. So you wouldn't want to get it under the name that you passed in, because that's only going to be saving what's in the generic text area. What you want to save is the stuff that we get back from Pinata. So we're going to set value IPFS hash, and we're going to be putting the Pinata data in there. And we're going to be set has pinned to true. Ideally, we would, instead of just like arbitrarily setting that state, we would have like another use effect that would watch this value, this IPFS value, and say like, does it have value? Then we'll automatically set it to pinned or has pinned. But I think just, we can hack something together here. It's not a huge deal, I think. So.
Well, Piñata data in null.
What's that? Sorry.
That Piñata data will be undefined before the.
The Pinata data will be undefined before it gets set.
Exactly.
Oh, have you been kind of coding ahead and seeing?
No.
Because the await should should get the result from IPFS, right? And it should return a response.json.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, is it just like, are you saying like it's the wrong shape?
No, before your promise, before your IPFS post process, you have an defined value that crash your
Probably.
if or the form.
I have an undefined. I can't quite. Okay, a preload.
I think
step
what
one,
he's saying is that the promise, like this function will finish executing before the promise happens, so pinata
Yep.
data won't.
Or
Right,
you're gonna
right.
set in true before
Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay.
asynchronous.
No, it like the await should pause. This is kind of like if I had a promise here, right? And it would be like do this dot then, right?
Yeah, but shouldn't you have a if piñata data not defined, then
Sure.
Like,
Yeah. Exactly. Like, yeah. If we're being careful, we should have a if pinata data. Sure. Yeah.
otherwise
block
the
that.
use effect will work.
This isn't just a heads up. This isn't a use effect. It's just just an action here. We had a use effect there earlier, but we're going to use a user-defined action instead. I haven't like tested any of this. I've just been hacking it in, and I figure we'll kind of debug and stuff as we go.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's take a look though. So it's going to get the data, right? Field text, hopefully. Should probably also check if there's field text, eh? Oh, now it's in that block, and we'll have to nest this. Okay, not nice. It's not pretty. We'll see. Let's just get going. Let's just see how this works. So we're going to be. I think the first thing to test is that we are getting field text. Next thing I want to test is that I guess I don't want to show the key on the recording, but maybe I'll just do this just so it shows a Boolean. Okay, and then set has pinned to true. Okay. Oh, that's kind of why I would want to put all the state into one, eh? All right. Well, for now. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's see where it crashes. There we go. Right on it, eh? Right on the money. Oh, it's the local form thing. Wonder, is it just, how do we usually pull it in?
Are you passing it the prompt?
Yeah. Yeah, it should come in as a prop. If we look at the payment input here, local form comes in like that. Oh, and we just don't invoke it. Okay. Still crashing. Area. Register of local form as it is undefined. Oh, because I'm doing it that way. Okay. That destructure wasn't working the way it should have. So it's like significantly more boring when I'm just writing out React components, eh?
Yeah, it seems necessary. We can speed it up and post.
Get default network. It still blows up. Nice. Local forms of props as it is undefined. Well, why would props be undefined?
Are you setting the
Oh,
props in your form?
One sec here. There we go. Okay, so if I hit pin, handle pin, it should at the very least fire that. On click, mod button, passing in a callback function. All right. Let's do a little refresh here. Minions. Okay, that's annoying. Why is my on click not working? It's gonna look brutal. Just a heads up. Handle pin. What's the problem now?
Your button tag field.
Oh yeah. Nope. What am I? Oh yeah, chakra. I'm used to the other library. Okay. Ooh, that looks beautiful. There you go. So it's weird. The other buttons, and we are getting that back. Interesting. Okay, so it is making the call, I think. Let's take a look.
Getting the key.
Yeah, I'm getting the key back. Okay. Let's see if we're getting the data. Probably. And type of field text equals string. Oh, because I don't have any field text. So it's a little guard there to make sure I actually am passing something to IPFS pin. So we are getting an error on the pin reason unexpected token JSON. Oh, I have to pass JSON, of course. Right. It's strange though. Stringify the string. Okay. Is that the error you're talking about? Accessing pinata data before initialized? Oh.
No, that's exactly. No, maybe try to JSON stringify pinata.
I'm doing that right here. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
before I send it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Of course. You actually have to do the thing. And I don't have to.
And that will be JSON.
What's that?
When you receive the answer from.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
I got to destructure all that data,
Yeah.
essentially? Yeah, okay.
And finally, you'll get the information you want. Which
Right.
is usually the hash value.
.json. And then I gotta basically. Well, maybe I'll keep that. Like, let me just see. Let me see what I get. So the joys of JavaScript. Oh, stupid button. Pinata data error. Unexpected token. JSON and unexpected token space JSON. Okay. Oh, it wants an object, eh? Okay. never happy. Okay. Oh, and we're already stringifying it.
Maybe it's that.
So I think the thing is that it was looking for something in an object shape. It was trying to stringify it, wasn't getting that. So it didn't quite. So we stringified it. We kind of like double stringified it, maybe. Kind of gave it more syntax than it needed. There we go.
Good job.
Pinata. All right. There would be, you know, error handling here, all that stuff, but that's not, so what I would do, maybe we'll just do disabled, just for some short, fast UI, has pinned. And here we'll do, if I was to rewrite this, I'd probably put it all in one sort of state. The double state didn't work out as good as I thought, but we'll do a spinner. If not, pin.
I think you need to tag it.
Should just be able to do a string. No? Yeah, string.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll do a big, we don't need actually, none of that matters. There you go. So obviously, you know, we would change that text to pinned. We might disable this as well. But, and then like if we want to log, if I'll show you how, you know, like how this works with the, in the shape of the form. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna log out the values here. So we're gonna log out the has pinned, right? We won't value. No, we're gonna log out IPFS hash here. So we're gonna watch it. Again, this is all very rough. I wouldn't be quite as rough about this, but just for demonstration. Just so we can see. Actually, we'll close and open this. There you go. So you can see where it said it 3 times, but, or at least rendered 3 times after. And then we're pinning the IPFS data right here. So I guess, you know, if we wanted to be better about this, which we should pull out if pinata data dot, how did they spell this? Like a capital IPFS hash. And then we're just gonna supplant that here. yeah, and then we'll be able to set the value there. And then, yeah, then we should just have the hash, and then that'll be saved to this name. So that when we go into our SBT transaction, right? So, I mean, we're not going to be sending any of this stuff, but just say we do want to, it's like values.ipfs hashed. You'd be able to pick it up there. It's a little bit roundabout of a way of getting that data. It, in my opinion, could be worse. It handles all your IPFS stuff data, and then you can also you can reuse this field in other in other forms as well.
Cool.
And that's how you do it.
Quick question.
Yeah, of course.
What I want to do two FS stuff.
You wanted to do two?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So basically,
I think my question is how do I differentiate values of each one?
Yeah, for sure. So what I would do is, I think you could probably just get away with, maybe you could your field, you could do, change the name of this to, what would I do? I would want to do something that I derive this from the name. So, I would do something like IPFS hash, and then name, right? So it saves it to one that is unique to this namespace, right? And then it should be able to work simply by, at that point, you should just be able to copy it in the form. SBT forms. And then we're going to change the name here. Name is Goofy2. Then we have 2. Obviously, kind of horrible UI here, but
yeah, but it's awesome.
Yeah. So you could basically do 2.
And will be exposed with different names, gathers as different.
Exactly. So they have different names here. So Goofy and Goofy2.
I have to do some dynamic and thinking.
So in our summon hard, there's actually a lot of fields. We have these. Oh, this is a different one. This is probably something that's really old. Minion. There's these things called gated, or a check gate. So it's like a checkbox, and if it's checked, it's going to render off whatever is inside of here. And if not, it's going to be a checkbox. You follow? Cool. So basically, it's another form builder inside of the checkbox.
Yeah, check gate.
Yeah, and you'll see that in input factory. If you even go to fields, you can see the kind of the API and how to use it. There you go. So render on check here, and then you can just render whatever field Lego you want on there. So you just take something like this, and just kind of copy it to your own needs, and then the factory will just render whatever's inside of here. So you could just copy something else here and put it on inside the render on.
Awesome.
And that'll kind of dynamic. If you want, you can do your kind of custom form building inside of your custom field here as well. Like you could render different UI inside of here.
Perfect.
Yeah. I use like in V3 where we have like whole sections of the app that are like, we have like these dynamic sections instead, which are a lot more convenient, but like you could technically build that in here as well.
Thanks, man.
No worries. Oh, looks like Loom kicked me off. I tested their limits. All right.
We're right at 2
Cool,
hours.
Perfect. So I guess Loom only allows 2 hours.
Mhm.
All right, folks, any other questions?
Is this code that you've written, are you going to put it in a PR that we could link?
Sure. Yeah, I could do that.
Because I know you had stuff from before, and then we kind of went on another thread, but
Yeah, I could totally do that.
cool.
I think I actually had the first one, so I'll just push back up to that branch. I think it's like SBT boost or something.
Okay.
Cool. All right, folks. Thanks for coming.
Looks like
Thanks
house
for watching.
parties.
Thank you.
House parties starting
is this
next door if anybody.
I'm bleeding into house party. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. All right, folks. See you later.
Later, y'all.
See you around.
So there's like a boost I want to make, and I had some questions about kind of where to dive into the right repo. Is now an appropriate time to ask some questions?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. I'm gonna get my screen going. Just start recording. UI. Do you want to start recording as well? Just
Yeah,
there might be some good stuff here.
I've got the audio already, so yeah, go for it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Shoot.
So we've been working on the DAOstar data, like DAO registration standard, which allows DAOs to kind of like publish their constitution and like their URIs to like members lists and stuff on chain. So it's like this kind of cross DAO working group, and the goal is to kind of make it so like Etherscan can index DAOs better, and like Deep DAO, and like even like the DAOs on DAOhaus, and just make it like so that we don't all have to like look in many different places for this info.
Yeah.
So Keating and I built this like reference implementation for V3.
Yeah.
And basically how it works is like after the DAO gets summoned, it just has to like do a proposal to register itself. So first we just create like a JSON file, which is like, this is our members URI, which actually just kind of points to a DAOhaus subgraph, and then like transforms the data a little bit. And then it's just like a description of the DAO name, like a governance URI, which should lead to like kind of a markdown file, which describes like, hey, this is how this DAO works. And so once the DAO creates that, they pin like a JSON file to IPFS, and then there's a registration proposal. And so the registration proposal comes from the DAO itself to this like registration factory, and it's just like and it just registers that the IPFS hash of this file, which makes it so now anybody that like is querying the registration factory can be like, oh, okay, here's like the metadata about this DAO. So pretty simple contract, and generally makes it so that DAOs have a URI, which allows us to like index them. So the only thing that a DAO needs to do is call out to that registration factory. So I wanted to add a boost for a minion, or like an additional, I think it would be like an additional playlist on like a minion proposal.
Yeah.
So if I go to like, all right, which has minions?
Isaac, can that be updated? Can I like change the name? Do I ever need to, or? Okay.
Yeah, so then you can just submit, like when you call the registration factory, it gives you your own registration contract, which you can then submit updates to, or you can just call the registration factory again, and like the indexers will just like grab the latest one.
Cool. The contract, I can just look up the URI by my DAO contract address.
Yeah.
It's very similar to like the way we would handle our poster boost.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot of, but probably just with a lot more IPFS pinning, right? Like you would want to do the pins in app, and then create the hash, and then submit those hashes.
So we could do like a hard version, which is like you have to do all the work of like making this JSON and pinning it yourself, and then like V0 of the form is probably I'm just gonna want to like do like I want to add like a playlist here, which is like DAO star registration, and then you would do like DAO star registration, and then it's just like IPFS hash. So like and then like maybe like V1 like turn it into an actual form that collects the data. But initially, I think that it would be helpful even just to like create the initial form that allows you to input the CID, and then it calls out to the registration factory.
We could build that live.
Right now?
Well,
Does it have to?
really planned, but
Might be once we do this little SB2T series, we could do this after, put it in the slot, or I would just say that like our poster boost uses a flow that's like really similar to this.
Oh,
and
cool.
we're able to post like markdown to IPFS, create a hash, and then send that hash with like how the kind of the location in the app we want to store it in. Like say we want it to be on the front page, or we want it to be in our DAO docs folder, or we want to put it in wherever. We essentially just like send a big JSON blob as an event. And then the graph picks that up and indexes it, and that has that IPFS hash in there, so that like we're able to load it in the view later on.
Nice.
It sounds very similar to what you're doing.
It is very
sort of,
similar, yeah.
Binding with like a contract call, some JSON data that points to IPFS hashes.
Exactly, yeah. And we consider even just using poster raw, but like there was a couple additional things that we wanted to do. But cool. Like, so where does that exist in the repo?
Yeah, I can show you right now.
Okay, yeah, stop hearing him.
So in the like you're just looking like where the code is.
Yeah, like if I just wanted to like branch and
For
modify
sure.
the poster one to do the DAO star registration instead.
So I had to do a little bit of like custom work with the IPFS stuff. So with Boost, you know how like we're usually like searching fields and just trying to get like the data raw from the form. In this one, I do like a custom args from callback function. So basically, like it just chooses, you make a name for it, and then you're able to go into TX helpers here. TX, yeah, it is this massive mess here. Let's find args from callback.
So the repo is Pokemon Web, or what's the repo?
It should be DAOhaus app. It's just I've
Okay,
been
okay.
running the same one for forever.
Gotcha. Nice. So this all lives within DAOhaus app. Nice.
Yeah, and so where I haven't like been through here in a while, the args from callback flow. But basically, like you could just do an arbitrary callback instead of searching for your data.
Okay.
Using this like notation, you can just, and then that allows you to, or allowed me at least to, kind of bundle the pinning and the form submission at the same time.
Okay. Cool.
If you wanted just to like make inputs, like you could just do custom inputs that like pin, like with maybe a button or something like that. That's another way, and then you could kind of use the classic flow as well.
Nice.
And
Yeah, I could make them in the first version. I could just make them pin and just give us like a pin CID or something, and then yeah, this would be good to add as well.
And like, so if you want to see where
Does
like
it-
poster boost transactions and stuff are, they're right here. It just go to poster boost TX,
Okay.
and there's the poster forms as well. If you're looking for some of like the inputs that I used for like having a location or a description, there's one here that should be like specifically around pinning. I thought there was at least, or one around, maybe not, maybe that just happens behind the scenes. Yeah, I think that just happens behind the scenes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I want to
And
poster
then
form.
in the V0, if you just wanted to have a field for CID and then call that contract, it would be
Oh,
really
yeah.
easy.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be
That'd be
incredibly
super
easy. Yeah, that would look more like this SBT boost,
Okay.
which is like basically like something. So I made a little like helper function that makes kind of calling these multi transactions a
cool.
little easier. So you just put your actions in here, and it's like this shape, right? Like the target contract, and it has all the other things that we usually just sort of like default to 0. But you can see all the things that like all the defaults here, and you just essentially overwrite them with your own actions or.
Oh, sick! Yeah. This is like that'll be really easy. So yeah, I'll just fork I'll probably just start by forking the SBT one.
Yeah.
And getting initial like registrations flowing.
Yeah. Like for V0, if you just want to just get that one hash in there, and then like maybe a title or something to like just update the DAO and say like, hey, we're making we're joining the DAOstar protocol or whatever. That's kind of pretty straightforward, pretty easy.
Nice. We were thinking of also like reimbursing DAOs where they're gas to do this.
Oh, okay, cool.
So like if DAOs can like register and then like prove that they registered, we could like send some money from the DAOstar treasury into their DAO.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Wow, yeah, this looks super easy. I'll get started.
Yeah, cool. Let me know if you have any questions.
Nice. Yeah, I'll deploy the factory to most of the networks. That'll probably be necessary, like mainnet, Gnosis, and Polygon, and all of those. Where should the addresses for those live? Do you have an example of like something that's like network dependent?
Yeah, exactly. So we have this like massive mess here, this chain.js.
Okay.
And you can see like you don't necessarily you can put it on there, and then you use this like dot notation just to find it, and it like automatically pulls from whatever network your DAO is currently on.
Oh, good, nice. Yeah,
So just context data chain config.sbt factory, or in your case it'll be DAOstar, and then you can just add it to chain.js for the the networks that it's available for.
Excellent. Oh, cool. And if it's not available for a network, does it fail elegantly?
It just like you won't be able to enable that boost anyway, like to begin with.
Got it. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. That's elegant in my opinion. So cool.
Okay.
Nice. Thanks.
No worries. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I think that's clear. I'll just I'll download and fork. And is it relatively straightforward to get this running locally? If I want to test it locally before it.
Yeah. So I have also there's like 2 videos just to like show how I made this SB, or there's a video that like goes through all the steps I took to make this SBT thing. And like I explain why and like what are all these fields for and stuff. People ask some questions. I always start with my form, just like I guess a bit of a refresher here. I start with my form, and then I go to dev is true. And if you do that, then if you go to new proposal and then you go to manage, you'll see something called a dev test list. Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to, the form that you're building at the moment, you'll be able to test it right here.
Nice.
And then test the transactions.
Do I need any environment variables to run this locally?
Yeah, I think you'll need a few.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess basically the RPC for whatever networks you want to use.
Okay.
Or no, maybe not.
It'll
probably not. Yeah.
It'll run without those.
Yeah.
For this kind of dev, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, just remember dev is true. If you want to like log the values that are in your form, you can go log values is true, and then it'll console log everything that's going on inside your form. Yeah.
Cool. All right, got this down here.